welcome to Urban Goes Green. Today we're going to be releasing the results of our year-long project, Target 3008, which its aim was to reduce waste and inspire sustainable lifestyles in the Docklands. And my partner in the project, the brains behind the whole thing, is here with me today, Clare from Monash Sustainability Institute, who's also part of Urban Reforestation now. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Well, firstly, thanks for being an awesome partner this year.
No worries.
It's been great working with you on it. And yeah, she really has done an amazing job. And we've got a report that we're going to be releasing next week, and we'll be presenting those results at the Metropolitan Waste Management Group meeting, actually at our shop next week, where we talk about waste reduction and business in a global and local context. But today, we were just going to share a few points from Target 3008 project, and we had three major objectives, which were
to reduce the organic waste in Dock 5 and Victoria Point, to create a greater sense of community in those apartment buildings, and to inform generally on the sustainable lifestyles.
So it's like the information and communication.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll start with the ecological one, so the waste reduction one. So for Dock 5, the results looked really positive in terms of the organic waste, didn't they?
They showed a decrease of about 18% in organic waste over the year.
And I find that quite interesting because the garden's close by, and we have seen a really strong increase in the amount of composting that's taking place in the garden. And as the garden's just below Dock 5, maybe there is...
It's pretty convenient for them.
That's it. And so we were sort of thinking about maybe how, as a recommendation in the report, how the Victoria Point could improve their organic waste reduction, their food waste reduction, is to actually get a garden near their apartment. We'd be more than happy to catalyse a project like that. So on Victoria Point, there was some positive news in one area, which was...
We saw a decrease of about 10% in bottles and cans.
And after a discussion we had with Kay, the building manager, she actually was really getting the signage and waste being sorted in Victoria Point. So it's good to see how putting educational signage up and improving the infrastructure, actually there's a correlation with the reduction in recyclables, like the bottles and cans.
They do have quite a complex setup because it's such a large building.
And maybe that's a good time to move on to community, because there's some interesting observations there, isn't there, about the sizes of the buildings and the people in them. So firstly with Dock 5, what's your feeling there?
Well, it's a much smaller building. It's only got about 350 residents.
That's right.
And I thought it had quite a strong sense of community.
I think with Dock 5, there's a lot of people that live there on a permanent basis.
Yes.
And at Victoria Point, there's 1,100, and there's lots of people that it's more in transit community. So
Dock 5 also has areas for interaction like that open green area.
yeah. So there's a place to connect, and also they've got more of a village style street to connect in, and obviously the garden below them. And we were actually, you know, we've done a lot of work in that area over the past 2.5 years to engage the community. Some really authentic community engagement with the garden, with our co-design workshops, and also with our sustainable lifestyles workshops. And you know, you can't, you know, draw direct evidence and say this is why there is a stronger community there, but I think that it has actually helped to glue things together a bit. What's your opinion?
Well, I think it's a good place for people to meet. But it's like it's outside of Dock 5, but it's still close enough to be convenient.
And that's with public space and creating sustainable communities. That's a really strong way to utilise the public space in an innovative and different way, as opposed to it just being sort of a patch of green grass. It's actually really activated space that people can meet in, interact in, play in the sand with their kids or have a barbecue. So on the community front, what was some of the major conclusions from that? We've kind of discussed them there, but yeah, our programs, our sustainable living programs, I think have connected people, and the dinners. They were like probably out of, I think the whole project.
Most successful events that we ran.
They're sold out. They connect people. People come together to celebrate. We're not sort of dwelling on the facts that we're not being sustainable and being depressed about it. We're actually coming together as a community and celebrating food culture, growing food, eating local farm food, and I think that that's something really special that Urban Reforestation has been bringing to the Docklands, and our perspective on sustainability definitely has a cultural focus, and those dinners are they embody what we're actually all about. So next point, it's going to be a longer TV segment today because we're doing a bit of analysis. So information dissemination and communication to residents. We wanted to really share the stories and connect the community.
And also just inform about ways that people can live more sustainably.
That's right. So, what do you think?
Well, Docklands TV and Docklands News have been big support throughout the project, because that's where a lot of that information has been spread through.
So thank you very much to Docklands TV and Docklands News. And even previous to the Target 3008 project, it's such an integral part of the work that we do. It ties together the work and brings that story of what we're doing to the wider public and to major stakeholders as well. And we're going to be having a permanent garden in the Docklands now. It's very exciting. So that's all happening in the next 6 months, and I think a lot of thanks has to go to Docklands TV and Docklands News for supporting urban reforestation on our little journey.
Yeah, definitely.
And what else with information dissemination? What do you think? That was the major conclusions, wasn't it?
Yeah. Facebook was also really helpful.
Yeah, social media has been good, hasn't it? Yeah. And your blogs. A lot of the blogs have been written by Clare, and they're great I think blogs are a really good way to share information and keep, what people say is you can have a website, but if your website isn't active, then it's not going to be drawing new interest.
It's more of a narrative, which is more engaging.
That's it. So you've created that narrative throughout the project, and brought people into the ideas and the conversations through your great blogs. So thanks for that. So overall, it was a really good project. Lots of learnings. We'll be releasing the report. It will be up on our website. We've got a film night coming up. A film has been produced and directed by Urban Reforestation and Raj. How do you say his second name?
Pandita.
Pandita. So Raj Pandita has been involved in that. So we'll be having a film night, and also that'll be a more informal session to share our results of the project. So all in all, really, really good results, and thank you to the Victorian Government's Sustainability Fund very much for giving us the opportunity, and we hope that there'll be lots of learnings into the future for inspiring sustainable communities in other places and also in Docklands.